We don't know if John Harvard possessed the verbal mastery of T.S. Eliot, the groundbreaking ingenuity of Bill Gates, or the dashing good looks of Bill Gates. All we can be certain that John Harvard possessed was a 300-volume collection of books and an estate worth at least 780 pounds, which is the amount he donated to a newly established Massachusetts college upon his death in 1638. That's it? 780 pounds? That's just pocket change to those of you who have absurdly overpaid jobs like corporate consultant or dean of the Office of Student Life. But alas, our university is named for the English minister John Harvard simply because he donated his books and 780 pounds. So, what would John Harvard say if he could come back to life today, just to see what his dying contribution has done for his name? Crikey, he might say if he were Australian, which he was not. But seriously, imagine how it would feel to learn that over nearly 4 centuries, your own name had become synonymous with scholarly brilliance, elite exclusivity, and what Webster's dictionary defines as not getting any. To find out that you had become a global brand name like Johnson & Johnson or Blue Ivy Carter. How would one react to all this? I am sure that John Harvard would be honored to see his name printed on the resumes and sweatshirts of the world's most promising geniuses. After all, we are all geniuses. Each and every one of us was valedictorian of our high school class. We all have an IQ of 300 billion. We've all achieved local glory in our hometown newspapers, right? Well, getting accepted to Harvard certainly landed me on the front page of my hometown paper, the New York Times. John Harvard would also be excited that the yard named for him has become an international tourist destination. Why wouldn't he be excited about that? What's not to love about all those tourists? Take it from somebody who lived on the first floor of Stoughton. You don't even need to set an alarm clock when you can be awoken every day by a Korean family taking photos of you sleeping. But what would John Harvard say about the more controversial issues on campus? Would he be embarrassed to see how the school named for him was portrayed in films like The Social Network? And speaking of The Social Network, how confused John Harvard might be to learn that his name is associated with the world's most popular stalking platform. I can just hear him asking, "What exactly is Facebook? How do I untag all these photos? And who is this Luis Martinez that keeps writing on my wall?" Yet ultimately, I think that John Harvard would mainly feel a humble sense of pride to be here today, looking at the promising young adults whose education he endowed from a distance. After all, John Harvard donated to this school so he could contribute to others, not to boast his own achievements. In fact, he didn't have many achievements to boast. By the time he left his historic donation, John Harvard was only 30 years old. How crazy is that? The only thing I can hope to donate by the time I turn 30 is sperm. That's not even a joke. It's currently my only prospect for paying rent next year. But you know, at least I'm following my dreams, right? I want us to consider, though, how ironic it is that Harvard is named for somebody who contributed more than he achieved. We are a student body that seems singularly focused on achieving things for ourselves, and we frequently use Harvard's name as a benchmark for those personal achievements. And yet, we Harvard students so rarely make any effort to contribute to others. not even to purchase a paper from the spare change news guy. Young lady, young man, well, hello, young man, young lady. Nevertheless, it is my profound belief that we should not and must not achieve without contributing. We already have followed John Harvard's example through contributions we've made to our campus, our peers, and our friends. And we will continue to follow his example with contributions we'll make long after tomorrow when we commence our freshman year in the real world. Our contributions don't have to be monetary like John Harvard's was. These contributions might rather surface through scientific breakthroughs, artistic creations, humanitarian acts, or hilariously high-profile incidents of plagiarism and identity fraud. So, within the class of 2012, whose name will still be remembered in 375 years from now, when tenured professors have been replaced by robots, and the shuttle does not take you to the quad, but rather to the moon, where Harvard will need to build new dorms because construction in Alston will still be incomplete. I hope that we will continue to not only remember those who achieved, but those who contributed. So, fellow classmates, when you take your final steps around this great yard, please take a moment to stop at the John Harvard statue. And before you unzip your pants to pee on that thing one last time, say, "Thank you, John Harvard. Thank you." Congratulations to the families and graduates of the class of 2012.